Hey guys, Chicago injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo, shooting another video for you, and this one is actually from a viewer's request. We had somebody in a comment section on one of my former videos ask me about scarring or disfigurement. In other words, what is my scar work injury case worth? How do you value it? So if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that pretty much the value of your workers' comp case is based on how much of a disability you are left with. In other words, how messed up are you after you fully heal? Where if you're not really messed up, it's a smaller case. If you are really walking around with a limp or can't do your job anymore, it's a bigger case. But it's also affected a lot by your average weekly wage. In other words, if a guy makes $10 an hour, breaks his leg the same way as a guy who makes $20 an hour, the dude who makes $20 an hour will end up with close to double the amount that the guy who makes $10 an hour is. It's just the way that the workers' comp system is set up in the state of Illinois. Your mileage may vary in whatever state you're in, but most comp in most states is based on the permanence and also on your average weekly wage. But what do you do with a scar, right? I mean, a scar doesn't necessarily stop you from doing work or things like that, right? It doesn't, it's not a limp. It's not something that affects your ability to work that would be classically considered like a disability, right? But what do you do with a scar in workers' comp? Well, in like a third-party case or a car accident, it's literally whatever a jury will give you for it, as well as the attendant, like, mental anguish in that. But comp is a little bit different, right? It's all based on average weekly wage plus number of weeks of disability, and that forms like that lump sum of money at the end. But with a scar, you can't really do that calculation, okay? So your average weekly wage, here's what you need to know in Illinois. First, if the scar is above your knees and below your chest level, it may not be compensable at all. So if you have like a scar on your abdomen, that's not going to be compensable as disfigurement, or if it is, it's going to be very small amount of money. So you're talking about below the knees, above the chest area, a place where it's pretty much visible, whether it's December in Chicago or July in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So if it's something that's visible all the time, it's gonna be compensable. And really what it comes down to is the nature and the severity of the scar. Now, the next thing you really need to know is that having a lawyer for your scar case or your disfigurement case is important, and who your judge is, who the arbitrator, whose courtroom your case is assigned to. In other words, the judge or arbitrator on your case is going to be huge, because what we do a lot with scar cases is we go in front of the judge so the judge gets to see the scar. And if we have pictures of what the scar looked like in the healing process, we'll bring those too. And there are some judges that value scars much higher than others, and so that's something that you need to know. What if you have a disfigurement that isn't below the breast area, above the knee area? You can still be awarded PPD for that, but it's usually not going to be very much, okay? And then we would really focus on, does the injury connected with the scar cause you any permanence or lack of function or ongoing pain or problems, right? Because we'll get more mileage and value out of the case for you that way than, any other way. Unlike in most injuries, usually like mental anguish and pain and suffering is not even a factor in workers' comp, but it may be a factor in a scar case, right? So if you have a facial scar and it's an egregious wound, the arbitrator and the commission may consider the mental anguish and challenges you face due to that injury, right? Listening to my answer here, if this is not satisfying to you, if you're like, oh, Scott, you're blowing it in this one. Normally you explain this stuff so good, but you're being really vague with scars. Well, there's a reason for that. The awards are all over the place for scars. And in my opinion, the commission is not set up to really handle scars all that well. Although it's not that bad. You know, you get in front of a good arbitrator who has some, understanding and compassion, and you got an ugly scar, you're going to get paid for it. But probably a heck of a lot less than you would get if you get that scar due to medical malpractice or a car accident or something like that. In those cases, we are only limited by what a jury thinks the effect that scar has had on your life and just the scar itself, right? You can get a lot of money. Last thing I'll say about scars in general, and this is true in workers' comp, but it's also true in car crashes, and third-party cases even more, right? In comp, you got an arbitrator who is a judge who's got, hundreds of comp cases on their call. They see the same cases over and over and over. They're sort of, they got to move the cases. That's their job, right? And they're going to limit what you get for a scar. Versus a case that goes in front of a trial judge and, preferably a jury, and there is really no limit on what they might give you, right? They may also give you nothing, because a not guilty at trial is always a possibility in a third-party case. But if you have a compensable case in workers' comp, the chances of you getting zero are quite low. So, that's the trade-off that we always talk about between workers' comp and third-party. It's more likely you'll get benefits, but the benefits and award you get is probably going to be lower than a third-party case. Not always. But, a good lawyer who knows how to handle a pretrial, knows how to present evidence, knows how to present damages, information, is going to maximize what you get in a disfigurement or scar case. So is there an equation? Is it like, okay, a back strain is usually worth about 12 weeks of time off work times, 60% of your average weekly wage, and that's the ballpark range for a back strain. Can we do simple math like that for a scar case? Absolutely not, unfortunately. If I could, believe me, I'd give you the magic formula. It would make my life super easy too when I'm handling a workers' comp scar case, but it just doesn't exist because every case is different. Because the scars are different, the people are different, and you're going to get a different judge every time. So I hope that answers some of your questions, and I hope it helps you. If, God forbid, you or a loved one has been involved in an accident, whether it's third party, like a car crash, fall down, dog bite, bar fight, medical mistake, nursing home abuse, fall at a grocery store, a restaurant, wherever it is, or whether it's a work injury case, I am here to give you a free consultation. You can call me anytime, night or day, 312-500-4500. 312-500-4500. If you're not ready to talk to a lawyer, I've got great tools on my website. One is the Do I Have a Good Case Calculator. The other one is the Case Cash Calculator that in 15 seconds or less gives you an idea of what your case might be worth. Those are free tools, no obligation, on my website. It literally takes you 15 seconds to use the calculator, and they give you some really valuable information. I get a ton of thank yous and valuable feedback from people, positive feedback that I provide those tools. People really enjoy them, and at least a dozen or 25 people a day are using those tools now. So I know that people appreciate it. So if you think those would help you, I'll leave the links in the description. Finally, if you enjoy my videos, you enjoy the information I provide on the channel, please consider giving me a 5-star review on Google. I'll leave a link in the description. You just go to that web page, either click it or cut and paste it into a browser, click the 5 stars, say a kind word, hit submit. 5 seconds, you'll really be doing me a favor. Hope you and your family are well, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.